This is Kickin' and Streamin' Podcast, a binge watcher's guide to streaming movies, TV series, and stuff. Here are your hosts, Graham and Jocelyn.
And hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Kickin' and Streaming Podcast. My name is Graham, and with me today, of course, is my very, very beloved and absolutely fantastic Jojo. Hello to you, I say, Jojo.
Graham, I've missed your face.
Yes. This deserves, the famous Yes. We are live on YouTube and also recording for our podcast. But before we get on with it, today we are reviewing the Emmys 2022, the 74th edition of the Emmys. And we're going to talk about the winners, the losers, and the surprises. But before we get into that, Jojo and I would like to personally, apologize for our absence. It was towards the end of the summer, we tend to take a bit of time off just so we can replenish and continue doing this work. So we've been away for a couple of weeks, and our hope was to find you here, that you
Yes.
are still here.
Yes.
And so that's the hope. And if you left, well, hopefully you come back and just check us out. But we are back, and we want to continue, of course, doing our podcast for you. And I think that's pretty much it, right, Jojo?
Yeah, that's right. We're the original. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, join us everywhere we are on social media. We have a fantastic website. If you would like to give us a dollar or two, we would love that too. We have a little donation page on our website. Just let us know you're out there. Let us know that you are happy to be hearing us, happy that we're back, and that you missed us.
Yes. We every now and then we do a little search to see if there are imitations out there. And there are other people who have decided to name their podcast exactly like us, with a minor difference of completing the gerund or the ing. But we are winning, Kicking and Streaming Podcast, and we are the original, as Jojo has said. And to anyone who has decided that, even knowing, you can't tell me that you didn't know. A search would have rendered it. But to all of those who ignored the courtesy, at least, of finding something else to name your podcast, shame on you. But we are the original, and we are here doing this job, and we're known for it. So
Yes.
uh, that's all we're gonna say about that, right, Jojo?
That's it.
Right. So, Jojo, last night the Emmys took place. Emmy 2022, and hosted by Kenan Thompson. I did not see the opening, and I heard it like was freaking epic or whatever. So, can you tell me something about that?
I unfortunately did not get to watch either. I had a puppy dog emergency here with my middle child, so unfortunately I didn't get to watch any of it. I was in doggy ER,
Oh
but
wow!
so yes, I heard the same thing. I heard that it was epic and possibly not the best of ways. So
Right.
yeah, so I'm kind of sorry I missed it, and unfortunately, due to circumstances, I didn't even get to see clips. So I am woefully unprepared in terms of many things, but I'm doing my best. I'm here.
Right. And you know what, Jojo? Like, before we move on to all of it, I also would like to say a big fuck off to to Sunday night football.
Yes.
That, because typically award shows are on Sunday night,
Yes.
and it just dawned on to me. Normally, we would have put out the podcast about this award show today,
Yes.
because we would have done that live yesterday. But award show on a Monday night just to make room for, uh, Sunday night football. That's bullshit, man.
It is bullshit.
That's bullshit.
The
Yeah.
Emmys has been around. I don't know that they've been around longer than Sunday Night Football, but I actually think they have. So
Yeah.
I think they need, precedence.
Yes, and if somebody wants to miss the Emmys because they want to watch Sunday Night Football, well, more power to them. But let's not just upheave everybody's expectations, just so we can make room for Sunday Night Football. That's way too much seniority or respectability for Sunday Night Football. And even okay, so you might say, well, Graham, maybe you feel that way because you are a soccer fan as opposed to an NFL fan. That's not the case at all, because if there was a MLS Cup, or if there was a World Cup game on a Sunday night or whatever, and the Emmys were on, I would watch the Emmys and then I'll watch the highlight for the soccer game. So that's not what it's all about. It's just a question of the Emmys have been around for far too long, and they are important. Whatever.
Yeah.
Football can wait. Fuck
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it was supposed to be a return to normalcy this year too. Like, oh, we're going to have the real red carpet, we're going to have this, we're going to have that, we're going to have it's post COVID, we're kind of finally be normal, but it's going to be on a different night than it's ever been on in the history of whatever. So,
Yeah.
this
I,
is
I don't
just
get that.
well, we'll start out with some bitching, but that's fine.
Yeah. All right. So what I did get to catch was Keenan's little bit of a monologue, and he went after Netflix.
I did hear about that. He went in pretty good, apparently.
Yeah, yeah. It was like, and he was counting them to that's two.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I thought the hosting was good because Kenan wasn't in your face all the time. It alternated with a couple of people um in the bits. You know what? This year I have to say they were good. Like Martin Short, Selena Gomez, and Steve Martin did a very very funny bit. uh Mindy Kaling and what's his name, dude that was in the one of the writers with her, BJ Novak, also had a very funny bit. um Regina Hall had a bit of a monologue. Seth Meyer and Amy Poehler had a nice little bit too. So it was refreshing to see them back, to see the whole thing, an entire hall. And yeah, we're gonna get into the winners and losers and versus our expectations. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
right. So let's start this way, and we have outstanding competition program, and uh, the nominees were RuPaul's Drag Race, The Amazing Race, Nailed It, Top Chef, The Voice, and Lizzo's Watch Out for the Big Girls. And guess what? Lizzo's Watch Out for the Big Girls actually won it. And Judge, what did we predict for this one?
We actually didn't talk about this one before, so I don't have a prediction for it, but I am thrilled that Lizzo won. I love anytime Lizzo wins anything because she gets up there and is just fantastic, and she always comes out with something completely brilliant and unexpected and beautiful. So I'm very happy she won. I haven't watched the show, but if she's involved in it, I know it's fabulous. And I think that it's great that they didn't make her wait for like 10 seasons before she won something. Like right out of the gate, it was like, okay, no, you deserve this.
Yeah, that was awesome. And of course, as you know, Lisa will say her piece, you know, and she did.
Hmm.
And there was something she said that actually made me sort of like made me pause and think. And she said, these women's lives have changed in the course of a year, dramatically. And he says, and she says, they aren't even that unique. They just needed the platform. And this is one thing we don't think about, right? Because we see Lizzo with all her splendor, and she's a fantastic musician. She's a great artist, and but it seems sometimes that we over celebrate her because of the fact that she's a big girl who goes after the recognition that she has a place and a place of respect in society like everyone else. But she herself is telling you, in fact, you know, I'm not that unique. You just wouldn't give me a chance until I fucking reclaimed it. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And I love the fact that she
Yeah.
brings that out. Yes,
Yes.
definitely.
Yes. She is fantastic, and she, like you said, she always uses her platform to come out with something that is like, "Shit, she's right."
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right, so then we move on to outstanding variety talk series. Jojo, what do you have?
So we both, just decided that it would have to be John Oliver.
All right,
We're
and the nominees were whom?
let's see here. Apologies. So we had Late Night with Seth Meyers, Variety Talk Series?
Yes,
Okay. Late Night with Seth Meyers, Daily Show with Trevor Noah, Jimmy Kimmel Live, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, and The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. And we did have a talk about it, about how much Trevor Noah's come into his own,
yes,
and that Stephen Colbert is definitely uh uh you know, came through some challenging times with his show, but it just sort of has to be John Oliver, and
yes,
and it
yes.
was John Oliver.
We never had any doubt about that. We were like, okay, John Oliver is in the pile, so it's gonna go to John Oliver.
Yeah, basically.
And I heard that he was freaking awesome on Sunday night. He he went after Charles and the Queen. We know we're not gonna talk about that for now, but well, he went after the royals, but uh, he did his thing, and he's rightfully so, because as a British American, as he should, you know.
Yes. Yeah,
Uh,
he's got the definitely has the right to do that, and the perspective to do that.
exactly. It's all in the perspective too. There's a lot of that, right? So we have let me see what we have here. Let's move on then. Okay.
Okay.
So, uh, outstanding writing for a comedy special. We had Ali Wong with Dong Wong, Ian Berger, Devin Deliquanti, and Jennifer Franz, Jordan Klepper, and Zubin Parang, and also Scott Sherman, The Daily Show, where Trevor Noah presents. Jordan Klepper fingers the globe. Um, we had Gerard Carmichael for Rothaniel, Nicole Byer for BBW, Big Beautiful Weirdo, Noel McDonald, and for Nothing Special. And the winner was, surprisingly for me, it was Gerard Carmichael, even though, I loved what Gerard Carmichael did with this last special, but I wasn't expecting him to win. Did we have predictions on that one?
We did not. I remember us talking about Rothaniel a while back. I think you had watched it and had fantastic praises for it, but we didn't actually get into that in our Emmys prediction show. But I am surprised that he won, only because of honestly Norm Macdonald's being on the list, because it just seems like, I don't know how else to put this, sorry, but like dead people win.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I personally, when I saw that Noel McDonald had been nominated there, I also doubted. I'm like, okay, it's definitely gonna go to Noel McDonald, because he passed away, and he's was and still is very beloved, former SNL alum. There's no way, but
Yeah.
that was a surprise for me. Talking about surprises, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but a good surprise. I need to watch Rothaniel. I've watched, other stand-up from, Gerard Carmichael and have enjoyed it. I just haven't watched Rothaniel yet, but I need to get on that.
Yeah, Rothaniel is something completely different. Sort of reminiscent to Ellen DeGeneres type of thing, but of course with a bit more gravitas, if you will, a little more jokes, a little less jokesy and more. It was like literally a therapy session, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
So, yeah, have a look at that, Jojo. And so we now go to outstanding writing for a limited series, movie, or drama special. What do you have?
Let's see. We had Elizabeth Merriweather for The Dropout, Sarah Burgess for Impeachment, American Crime Story, Molly Smith Metzler for Maid, Patrick Somerville for Station 11, Danny Strong for Dope Sick, and Mike White for The White Lotus. And Mike White took it home for The White Lotus.
Yes, Mike White is cool, but he's a bit of a weird dude. That's the best way I can describe him.
Yeah.
And every time he came on stage, you would expect him to do or say something weird, and he did. And I think that's the best way of being yourself. You know what I mean? Like this dude, it's not a question of he's making being weird cool. It's just that he accepted his weirdness,
hmm
and by him being so accepting of himself, you have nothing but to say, "Yeah, man, this dude is cool." You know. So we we never. What did we say about this series? Because like I know you said you attempted watching it and it was like, yeah, I don't know, right?
Yeah, it was I could not get into it. I got at least 2 or 3 episodes in. I gave it more than 1 episode. And I could not get into it. I was not enjoying it. I could understand people enjoying it though, if that makes sense. Like I could get that it would be enjoyable for some folks. It just
Right.
was not my cup of tea at all.
Yeah, and there's always that, because there are shows that are insanely popular and have, yeah, I can't make anything out of it. I'm like, what do I do? Is something wrong with me?
Right. Well, in my case, I know there's plenty of things wrong with me, so
No, I'm sorry, ma'am. No, there's nothing wrong with you. You are the JoJo. Okay.
Uh,
All right, then. So we move on to outstanding writing for a comedy series, and Lucia Aniello, Paul W. Downs, and Jen Statsky for Hacks, the one, the only. Um, Quinta Brunson for Abbott Elementary Pilot, Bill Hader and Alec Berg, Barry, starting now. Um, Alec Berg and Duffy Boudreau, Barry, 710N. Steve Martin and John Hoffman, Only Murders in the Building, True Crime. Jane Becker, Ted Lasso, No Weddings and a Funeral. Sarah Naftalis, What We Do in the Shadows, The Casino. Stephanie Robinson, What We Do in the Shadows, The Wellness Center. And the winner for that one was Quinta Brunson. Um, we talked about Abbott Elementary, the fact that neither of us have, I suppose, put enough time aside to get into it and watch it, but we
it's
recognize its popularity.
yes, well, it's not as particularly a streaming show, and we talk
Yeah.
about streaming, so it is an ABC show, so that's kind of the reason why we haven't talked about it. Absolutely nothing to reflect on the series. It's just not really our format, but yeah, I've only heard fantastic things about it, and the reactions that I've read from the cast members and the crew who've won things for this really says a lot about how much of an underdog. I guess they kind of felt that they were and possibly are. I don't know enough about it to say, but everybody was over the moon to win, and I love it when that happens.
Yeah, and you're right. They were happy with the nomination, with the recognition itself. So to Quinta Brunson came out winning, and um, you know, you haven't yet seen it, but there was a bit there when she won of Will Arnett and Jimmy Kimmel, and Kimmel was like had to be dragged onto the stage because something, and people on Twitter kind of took offense to that because that was disrespect to Quinta Brunson's win and blah blah blah. It was a comedy bit. One, two. I don't know if you know this, but the fact that you're presenting doesn't necessarily mean that you know who's winning. So I mean, like the whole idea that somebody literally tweeted, um, white male privilege is a man just deciding to that a black woman has to go around him to accept her her award because he was like laying on the floor pretending to be dead. And I'm like, oh, fuck off. It was a comedy bit. Did he have to say, or did they have to say, the coordinators and everything, yo, if it's Quentin Brunson, though, you have to stand up right away. Like, fuck off, people. Seriously, it's just too much. Do you understand what improv is? Like, come on. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, George. I don't know.
I haven't seen it, so I can't speak to that, but I can say that there are so many people in this world, not just on the internet, but in this world, who take everything 100% literally
My
and
God.
100% with intent. And it's like with intent to harm, I should say,
Right,
or
right.
with intent to push an agenda or to push a whatever. And it's like, no, sometimes things just happen because they're funny, or sometimes things just happen because it's shitty. I'm like, it's
Yes.
so
Yes.
not everything happens for a reason. I've always kind of had a problem with anybody that ever said, oh, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
So like not everything happens for a reason, and sometimes it's just coincidence, and
Yeah,
whatever.
things are just occurring at the moment, and not everybody has the benefit of hindsight when things are happening. In fact, Quinta didn't take anything wrong about that, right? Like, see, here's what she said when she was asked later. She was asked, did you take offense to to Jimmy Kimmel being like in the middle there and not react? And she said, no, I didn't feel too bad about that. I probably will get mad about it tomorrow, but on Wednesday I'm gonna be on his show, so I might punch him in the face. That to me was a fucking hilarious answer. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just like, yeah, man, this is us. Like, we're cool. She participated in the whole thing. She's like, Jimmy, get up, I won. And Jimmy went like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's just yeah.
Yeah. Comedy is well,
God.
it's
Let's
subjective.
not explain comedy to these motherfuckers. Like, seriously, we're just going to move on, man. Because if you can't take a joke, for fuck's sake, get out of here. Right. So we're moving now to outstanding. I'm sorry. Is that where we are?
Outstanding writing for a drama series.
Yes.
So we had Jesse Armstrong for Succession, Dan Erickson for Severance, Hwang Dong-hyuk for Squid Game, Ashley Lyle and Bart Nickerson for Yellow Jackets, Jonathan Liskow, Ashley Lyle, and Bart Nickerson for Yellow Jackets, Chris Mundy for Ozark, Thomas Schnauz for Better Call Saul, and the winner was Jesse Armstrong, Succession, for the episode All the Bells Say.
Yeah, if we have predictions there, I'm pretty sure that I went for Hwang Dong-hyuk. Did we have predictions on this one?
We didn't. We kinda skipped ahead to the actors and things
Okay.
as opposed to writing. We did,
So
the actors
so
and yeah.
I like I love Succession. I watch Succession, but I do think that Honda here was kind of like robbed out of this one
Mhm.
because Squid Game
Mhm.
is still one of the most spectacular shit. By the way, I'm getting way too much into K dramas. That's going to be another episode that I'm going to tell you all about my adventure into K dramas. And like now I have favorite actors and actresses and shit. It's insane, man.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah. So, but like, congratulations to Jesse Armstrong, whatever. But yeah, for me, it should have been Juan Hugh.
Yeah. Yeah. I it seems like Succession, it was kinda their night, so
Yeah, it's HBO. Uh,
mhm.
they always do that, you know. Netflix. All right, then. So we shall move on to outstanding directing for a limited series. Am I on the right one, Jojo?
Yes.
Okay, so that is Hiro Murai, Station 11, Michael Showalter, The Dropout, Francesca Gregorini, The Dropout, Danny Strong, Dopesick, John Wells, Maid, Mike White, The White Lotus, and the winner was Mike White, The White Lotus. Um, yeah, I suppose we didn't do any prediction on this one, did we?
No, we did not. Mm.
We went straight to the actors last time.
Mhm. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, so that's cool. Let's move on then to outstanding directing for comedy series. What do you have, Jojo?
Um, let's see, Lucia Anello, Hacks, Jamie Babbitt, Only Murders in the Building, Sherry and Davis, Only Murders in the Building, Mary Lou Belly, The Mrs. Pat Show, MJ Delaney for Ted Lasso, Bill Hader for Barry, and Hiro Murai, mm, Murai for Atlanta. And MJ Delaney won Ted Lasso for the episode No Weddings and a Funeral, which was nominated for other things too, that particular episode.
Yes.
So,
And I have to say that I was, how there are people who, when they win, they always pretend like they didn't expect to win, right? Like,
mm, mm,
I
mm.
think there was a time where Taylor Swift was very, very criticized for the me, because like I think she won like 14 shit that same night. And if you have that many nominations, you shouldn't be surprised that you're winning. What I mean, but I have to say, MJ Delaney was like genuinely surprised to have won. Like she was, man, she was. You could tell that she was like, no, I just like nomination, yeah, but winning, you guys have lost your minds. You know what I mean? Like, so that was good to see. That was definitely great to see.
Yeah, I always love that whenever somebody's genuinely surprised and over the moon. So it's fantastic.
Yes, yes, yes. So we're gonna move on to outstanding directing for a drama series, and the nominees were Jason Bateman, Ozark, A Hard Way to Go, Juan Dong-hyuk, Squid Game, Red Light, Green Light, Karen Kusama, Yellow Jackets, Pilot, Mark Mylod, Succession, All the Bells Say, Kathy Yang, Succession, The Disruption, Lauren Lorene Scafaria, Succession, Too Much Birthday, Ben Stiller, Severance, The We Are, and the winner was Juan Don Yuk. So, yeah, every time this guy was nominated, not only did I think that it was well deserved, but I wasn't picking anybody over him because again, I'm saying this as sensationalist or sensational as in the greatest terms that Squid Game was. It was a discovery, and it was something that we needed to see in order to start to appreciate how seriously and how um, enthusiastically, you know, K drama embraces the art,
Yeah.
and I think Squid Game did that, and it was under the tutelage of Hwang Dong Hyuk,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yep. Kind of pretty much opened a whole genre to people who I don't think had ever thought of it before. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, and a lot of people would like to think that just because they've been into K drama for 13, 15, 20 years, it was an incredibly popular genre in the United States. It wasn't. It just wasn't. You know.
No, no. I mean, it definitely was among certain groups of folks, absolutely. But as terms of mainstream, absolutely not. I think if you'd said K drama to somebody, they would have been like, "Special K? Like what?
Yeah.
Sponsored by a cereal? What are you talking about?" And,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying that's the way it was. So I think it's fantastic that it's
Yeah.
been open. We've got a whole new world opened to mainstream. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we can move on to outstanding supporting actor in a limited or anthology series or movie. Jojo, what do you have?
So we had Murray Bartlett for The White Lotus, Jake Lacey for The White Lotus, Will Poulter for Dope Sick, Seth Rogen for Pam and Tommy, Peter Skarsgård for Dope Sick, Michael Stuhlbarg for Dope Sick, and Steve Zahn for The White Lotus. And let's see here. Our list was in a slightly different order before, but I know that so we both chose Michael Stuhlbarg for Dope Sick, but the winner was Murray Bartlett for The White Lotus.
Yes, and you know what? I think we chose it because we chose Michael Stuhlbarg because of what we know him as an actor.
Mhm,
But it's not like we ever dreamed that it was actually going to win it. We did think that it was deserving of
mhm.
not only the nomination but winning it for what he did on Dopesick. But I mean, I don't suppose that Michael Stuhlbarg has the kind of friends in high places and stuff as a lot of people have in Hollywood, and he is, by all account, a character actor who has basically shined every time he did something. And this is, as far as I can tell, the first time that I've seen him nominated. So I don't know if he's had other nominations, but I've seen him in other stuff, and I've talked about seeing him on uh, Boardwalk Empire, and like I said, all the things. And the man is an absolute fucking genius. So that's why we chose him, even
Yeah,
though he didn't win.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay then. So now we move on to outstanding supporting actress in a limited series, anthology, or movie. The nominated were Connie Britton, The White Lotus, Jennifer Coolidge, The White Lotus, Alexandra Daddario, The White Lotus, Caitlin Dever, Dopesick, Natasha Rothwell, The White Lotus, Sydney Sweeney, The White Lotus, Mare Winningham, The White Lotus. And in terms of prediction, I think I can quote myself saying, I think it's pretty fair to say that one of the ladies of the White Lotus is going to win this one.
Yes.
And what do you know?
Yes.
The
Yes.
winner was Jennifer Coolidge, which I personally couldn't be happier about. Like seriously, and yeah, the White Lotus.
Yes. Yes.
Jennifer Coolidge was, of course, funny. This is a lady that doesn't exaggerate in her funniness. She's just bloody funny, even without saying anything.
She's
And so, of course, she was genuinely happy to have won, and she started doing her thing, and the music started, and she bloody started dancing like, you're not gonna stop me. I got things to say. One more thing, one more thing. She kept saying, one more thing, one more thing. And then they put on some music and she started dancing, man. Like, what, you're not going to rain on my parade. Which brings me to ask you this question, but because this morning I saw an article that says, please, for the love of God, stop running the music when artists are giving their acceptance speeches. Um, where do you stand on that, Church?
Yeah, I think if it gets to the point where they've been going on for like, I don't know, 7 minutes or something, then yeah, let's roll in some music. But like when you're only giving them 30 seconds or a minute to thank lots of people, and especially for people it's their first time winning and they've maybe been nominated 25 times, or it's their very first time winning and it's their first time nominated. I just think that there needs to be more consideration. With that kind of thing, but I think the cutoff is way too quickly. It's just way too soon.
Yeah,
Like I
30
said,
seconds.
sometimes I think people would take advantage and just go on for fucking ever, and it would be like, okay, please stop, Sir Anthony Hopkins. That's I just pulled the name out of my elbow. So, but yeah, so like I do think I agree that it's just too soon. It's too quick.
Yeah, 30 seconds. There's not a lot you can say in 30 seconds, especially when you are emotional and
Yes.
all kinds of things going on with you when you have won something you didn't expect to win, even if you expected to win.
Yes.
So 30 seconds is a lot. But I do think that we do have to come up with is not a lot, I'm sorry. But I do think we do have they have to come up with another way of saying, and I thought about it in this way, like, you know what? Let's if you are an inexperienced winner or someone who your first time winner, let's give you let's give you at least 60 seconds, or let's say 90 seconds,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And if you are like one of those technical background something winner that, as one of them said, I've heard that people like I have people to thank, but I've heard that that doesn't matter because when you're not famous that doesn't matter. It was a joke, but it's kind of true. You know what I mean? Yeah, thank you, people. But I do have to say that the Emmys did something that I've never seen done before, which is, as the person was talking, they also had a little ticker saying the amount of the other people that they wanted to thank.
Okay.
So that would have helped, but still 30 seconds is not a lot. You know what I mean?
No.
So so and so would also like to thank ta 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 ta, because there's a lot of names.
Yeah.
But let them thank their mom and their dad and say why they're grateful for the mom and their dad and their wives and blah blah blah. Let them do that, you know. Let them say tell people why they are so happy to win after all the years and tears and sweat and blood. Let them give testimony of that, because as Jennifer Coolidge said, this might never happen again.
Yeah.
That's why she wanted to speak, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
I agree. And when honestly, when it comes down to it, it's an awards show, the clues in the title, clues in the name. And it should be more about who they're thanking and who they want to talk about. And I know that for some people that could get quote unquote boring or whatever, but there is a lot of people who are in the business who have voices that they would like to use for things that they maybe otherwise wouldn't be able to. And I know there's a whole lot of controversy about that. Oh, you're an actor, just act, which I think is ridiculous.
yeah, that's bullshit. Yeah.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
But I do think that they should be given more time to say thank you, their thank yous, because it is, it's all this build up and so much time is spent talking about the show and what they're nominated for, and then here's 30 seconds to say thank you, get off, thank you, goodbye.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Get your ass off
Because
the
of
stage so
course,
we can do something else.
yeah, because of course the studios have the money to sponsor all that time, you know, and they present it as look at this wonderful thing that these people have done. But it's the studio trying to say, hey, man, in case you haven't watched this shit, watch it because, But then the people who actually put in the work and are winning because they're putting the work, yeah, you have 30 seconds, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think
Yeah.
we've bitched enough about that one. All right. So, Jojo, we've got outstanding lead actor in a limited series or movie. Go on, please.
So we had Colin Firth for The Staircase, Andrew Garfield for Under the Banner of Heaven, Oscar Isaac for Scenes from a Marriage, Michael Keaton for Dope Sick, Hamish Patel for Station 11, Sebastian Stan for Pam and Tommy. And let's see, we had both chosen, let's see, I had chosen Andrew Garfield and you chose Michael Keaton, and the winner was Michael Keaton for Dope Sick.
Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
Jojo, I just couldn't even imagine
Mhm.
that someone else would have been more deserving. Like when I looked at the list of nominees, but you did make a great point about why you thought Andrew Garfield would have won it. So yeah, um, yeah, Michael Keaton. Gosh,
Yeah.
that was a hell of a series. People
Yeah.
need to go and watch Dope Sick because seriously, Dope
Yes.
Sick, Dope Sick is you know there's a lot of drama and a lot of sensationalism around the whole thing, but Dope Sick actually gave you a sense of here's what they think about the people that they you know wronged,
Yep. Yep. And we
and
did a
this is
whole
how they
podcast
behave.
episode
Yes,
about it too. So go listen to our episode. I think we might even have some clips up on YouTube
yes,
about Dope Sick, but we did definitely dedicate a whole episode to it. So yeah, it's a great show, and listen to our episode so that you can get the highlights of it.
absolutely. So we move on now to outstanding lead actress in a limited series or movie. We have Toni Collette, The Staircase, Julia Garner, Inventing Anna, Lily James, Pam and Tommy, Sarah Paulson, Impeachment, American Crime Story, Margaret Qualley, Maid, and Amanda Seyfried, The Dropout, and the winner was Amanda Seyfried. Uh, what were our predictions? But before that, what did you think of this win?
I was surprised, to be honest. I don't I didn't get to watch this. I wanted to watch it. I didn't get to watch it, but I didn't hear fantastic things about her performance. I didn't hear horrible things, but I didn't hear
Yeah,
fantastic things. And there was such a, you're up against Tony Collette, just as an example.
yeah.
It just was odd to me. You actually didn't choose anybody for this category. You were like, nope, I'm not doing it. And I chose Margaret Qualley. So I don't know.
Yeah, and I think the reason I didn't choose anyone is because you know, I didn't think Julia Garner was that great with Inventing Anna
Agreed.
because she drifted in and out of the accent for me. You
Agreed.
know, Lily James for Pam and Tommy. I haven't watched Pam and Tommy. I'm not even interested in watching it.
No, me neither.
And it was it was one of those for me. Like it could be anyone, but I seriously don't care.
Hey.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So we are going to move on to outstanding supporting actor in a comedy series. What do you have, Jojo?
So we have Anthony Kerrigan for Barry, Brett Goldstein for Ted Lasso, Tohi Jameau for Ted Lasso, Nick Mohammed for Ted Lasso, Tony Shalhoub for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Tyler James Williams for Abbott Elementary, Henry Winkler for Barry, and Bowen Yang for Saturday Night Live. And we had, let's see, who do we choose? So I didn't pick anybody, and you had actually chosen Toheeb.
Tohib Jimo.
Yes. But
Yes.
the winner was Brett Goldstein for Ted Lasso.
Yeah, that was for me. Actually, Brett Goldstein winning it again was a surprise. Oh, actually, did he win last time? Yes, he did. Um, it was a surprise, and I'm not saying that he wasn't as good as he was on the first season of Ted Lasso, but I thought, given the fact that now they had nominated more actors from Ted Lasso, between Nick Mohammed and Tohib Jimo, I thought, I would like for Tohib Jimo to win it because I think he has an important part that he plays in the show, and so yeah, not saying that he doesn't deserve the win, but it was surprising for me. It was surprising for me. Uh,
And I didn't pick anybody because I haven't seen any of these folks. In what they've done. I think I talked a little bit about Tony Shalhoub just because I love Tony Shalhoub and think he's fantastic, but that doesn't mean that he should have won. But that was just me talking. So
yeah. And Tony Shalhoub, myself having watched The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel at least the first two seasons, I think Tony Shalhoub is unequaled. Like seriously, man is absolutely bloody fantastic. But yeah, all right then. So we're going to outstanding supporting actress in a comedy series, and the nominees were Alex Borstein, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Hannah Einbinder for Hacks, uh, Janelle James, Abbott Elementary, Kate McKinnon, Saturday Night Live, and Sarah Niles, Ted Lasso, Cheryl Lee Ralph, Abbott Elementary, Juno Temple, Ted Lasso, and Hannah Waddingham, Ted Lasso. What predictions did we have on that one?
we both chose Sarah Niles.
And that wasn't the case, but I'm overjoyed with the winning of Cheryl Lee Ralph.
Yeah.
And she was great. She was fantastic. She was gracious. She broke out in a very inspiring song, after showing all of her emotions when she got up there, and that was the best acceptance speech of the night for me. She was absolutely fantastic, and yes, she deserves to win.
Yes. Yes. I read a little bit. Like I said, I haven't gotten to watch the clip or anything because it's still morning here for me. But I did read a little bit about her acceptance speech and everything, and so I'm thrilled she won too.
Yes, ma'am. All right, so we move on now to outstanding lead actor in a comedy series. Go on, Jojo.
So we had Daniel Glover for Atlanta, Bill Hader for Barry, Nicholas Holt for The Great, Steve Martin for Only Murders in the Building, Martin Short for Only Murders in the Building, Jason Sudeikis for Ted Lasso. And we had both chosen Donald Glover, but the winner was actually Jason Sudeikis for Ted Lasso.
And one could think, I mean, you wouldn't be blamed to think that was an odd choosing of you guys. But we thought that since Hollywood tend to remediate all of their passing on actors in their final season by giving them like a last hurrah by letting them win it after so many nominations, we thought uh, that could be the case with uh, Donald Glover.
Yes.
But also, it's not surprising that that Jason Sudeikis won it because yes, he's that good on Ted Lasso. That's as simple as that. So we're not even going to argue that one.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool, man. Cool. Yeah. Look at us, Georgia. All right. So we had outstanding lead actress in a comedy series, Quinta Brunson, Abbott Elementary, uh, Kali Cuoco, the flight attendant, Jean Smart, Hacks, Rachel Brosnahan, the marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Issa Rae, Insecure, Elle Fanning, The Great. Um, and the winner was Jean Smart. What was our prediction on this one?
We both chose Jean Smart.
There you go.
I think we basically said we were going to riot if she didn't win.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, this is insane. This lady has been absolutely fantastic
Yeah.
on both seasons, and
Yeah.
that's credit to the writing. I'm not saying, but like at the same time, though, you need an actress to take that writing to the level that
Yes.
she's had taken it, and
Yes.
it is absolutely amazing.
Yes. And I love the growth of Jean Smart because she's been around for a really long time. And I'm not calling her old, but she has been in the industry for a long time. You know, she was on Designing Women in the 80s. She's been in little bit parts in like, movies of the week from Hallmark and that kind of thing. And then she's kind of had this wonderful recognition and renaissance almost of
Yes.
her talent. And it makes me really happy because she is an older woman, and a lot of times that is not she what's the word? She's a woman of a certain age.
Yeah, which
You
means
know,
she's an older woman.
right, she's an older woman, but she's not like Judi Dench where it's like, "Oh, she's old, so
Yeah, yeah,
she's the grand dame or whatever." She's
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
she's kind of in between that
Yes,
middle-aged and old so that she's older, and I love that she's getting recognition because it's such a overlooked
I
uh
completely agree. I
so
completely
I
agree.
I love that Jennifer Coolidge won. I love that Jean
Yes,
Smart won. So,
yes,
yeah.
yes, absolutely. I completely agree. And they're beating a bunch of like, younger
Yes.
actresses too.
Yes.
So there's that, you know. But yeah, no, I agree with you, Jody. This one is a good one. And she said in her acceptance speech that uh Rachel Brosnahan was incredibly gracious to send her this huge box of cookies or whatever. And they're huge cookies. You can't stop eating them. And she said, and then I thought about it and I'm like, oh, she just wants me to look fat in whatever dress I use. All right. Yeah, well played. Oh, no, man.
Oh,
Oh,
fantastic.
no. Right. So we're going to go on to Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Drama Series. What you have, Jojo?
So we had Nicholas Braun for Succession, Billy Crudup for The Morning Show, Kieran Culkin for Succession, Park Hae-soo for Squid Game, Matthew McFadden for Succession, John Turturro for Severance, Oh Young-soo for Squid Game, and Christopher Walken for Severance. And let's see, we had both chosen one moment here. We had both chosen Oh Young-soo, but
Yeah.
the winner was Matthew McFadden for Succession.
Yes. I don't like the character that Matthew McFadden plays in Succession, but I do recognize that he's acting the bloody hell out of the role. So the fact that he won for me, that's I don't have anything against that. The fact that even he was nominated, that to me was fantastic. But again, there were Oh Young Soo from Squid Game for me was absolute fantastic. And I was actually even, on the low, sort of rooting for Nicholas Braun because he also is a great character on Succession. And I
Hmm.
know he's been nominated before, but I don't think he's won as of yet, has he?
I don't think so. I know it was Matthew McFadden's first win too. I did read that
Yeah.
because I saw that he had won and I was like, "Wait, who the hell is that?" Because I kn I recognized his picture didn't look like who I was expecting it to look like, and then I was like, "Oh, it's that guy. Okay, gotcha." But yeah, I'm kinda disappointed that Squid Game, but, uh,
Yeah, I was expecting more for Squid Game because Squid Game, again,
yeah.
uh, but yeah, whatever, man. Seriously, whatever. And the other thing is, didn't we talk about the fact that it was it on the Golden Globes that Succession was considered a comedy and here it's a drama? We talked
I
about this, didn't we?
Yeah, yeah, it was like, "What the shit?"
What is
Basically.
going on, man?
I don't know. I mean, I guess you just submit for whatever you think it's gonna be, but I don't know. I feel like there should be, like, sort of a standard, like, "No, you don't get to pick and choose." Like, "Oh, I think you're gonna win for drama and for an Emmy, but you're gonna win for a comedy over here." It's like, "Man, I don't know."
Yeah, that's weird, man. That's weird. All right, then. So now we move on to outstanding supporting actress in a drama series, and the nominees were Patricia Arquette, Severance; Julia Garner, Ozark; Jung Ho Young, Squid Game; Christina Ricci, Yellow Jackets; Ray Seahorn, Better Call Saul; J. Smith Cameron, Succession; Sarah Snook, Succession; and Sydney Sweeney, Euphoria. And the winner was ba, 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 ba,
Mm.
Julia Garner for Ozark. And what did we predict, Jojo?
So, I actually chose Patricia Arquette, and you chose Jung Ho Young.
Dang. It's weird that I didn't choose Julia Garner because I thought, but then she had won before, and uh, and also I think I didn't choose her because the character of Ruth was killed in the show, and I
Yeah,
thought, yeah, maybe, no, you
yeah,
know.
I think yeah. Yeah, I think it was kind of that season was that season of Ozark was they did her dirty, so maybe
Yeah,
that's why she I don't know, maybe that's why she won. I mean, not to say
yeah,
she didn't deserve it, just
yeah. That's true. Yeah, we're not saying that's true. I mean, Ruth was a stalwart of character. Like, seriously, every character in Ozark, which is a weird thing, but every character in Ozark was had like a weight to it for the actor that you could tell. Like, I mean, Tom Pelfrey only had maybe uh, in total 10 episodes. Um, who, by the way, Tom Pelfrey is now dating Kali Cuoco. Um,
interesting,
yeah, yeah, and
interesting.
you remember me, talking all kinds of wonders about Tom Pelfrey because it's when you've been a soap opera actor, it is not easy to break out into the rest of Hollywood. Like you sort of like cast aside as, yeah, man, you on the lower echelon. And these kids, my first encounter with him was on The Guiding Light,
Mhm.
you know. But then a long time later, I saw him on that Marvel show on Netflix. Do you remember that? The blind dude.
Daredevil?
Yes, he was on Daredevil. And I'm like, I've always known Tom Pelfrey to be more than soap opera. He's a great actor, right?
Mhm.
but let's see what else happens, you know.
Hmm.
And I've seen him on a couple of other things, and here he is, you know. Uh, I think he got nominated last time for his role
That
on
sounds,
Ozark.
yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah.
All right, so we move on to outstanding lead actor in a drama series. What you got, Jojo?
So we got Jason Bateman for Ozark, Brian Cox for Succession, Lee Jung Jae for Squid Game, Bob Odenkirk for Better Call Saul, Adam Scott for Severance, Jeremy Strong for Succession. And let's see, what did we choose? I chose Adam Scott and Graham chose Lee Jung Jae. And the winner was Lee Jung Jae for Squid Game.
Yay! So I think, yes, you've heard me talk about Lee Jung Jae and all of the actors of Ozark. One thing I have to say though that pleased me a lot is the fact that almost all of the actors of Ozark that went on stage, they had an interpreter, not a translator, but an interpreter, but they didn't, you know, they decided to speak in English. And I think with that, the signaling to Hollywood, look, man, we're not only available in Korea, we're available for Hollywood too. You know
Mhm,
what I mean?
mhm.
And and to be honest with you, the use of an interpreter for these folks perhaps was more of a question of, if I do say something in Korean, then, you know, interpret it for me in English. But it wasn't necessarily because they weren't able to communicate what they wanted to communicate uh, in English, and their English, you know, are pretty remarkable. So that was dope to see, and I hope to continue seeing that, man.
Yes, yes. That's the other thing too. Like, they were great in the series, and we need to see them in more things.
Yeah, yeah. So don't just typecast them to K drama, but
Right.
you know, bring them onto this side. Let them do the crossover properly, and we'll be better for it. To be honest, that's it.
Yes.
We have outstanding lead actress in a drama series, Jodie Comer with Killing Eve, Laura Linney, Ozark, Melanie Linsky, Yellow Jackets, Sandra Oh, Killing Eve, Reese Witherspoon, uh, The Morning Show, Zendaya, Euphoria, and of course, the Queen of the Emmys, Zendaya won it.
Yes. And I
Uh,
remember we kinda had a difficult time with this one, but we both end up choosing Laura Linney.
yes, and I don't think we were wrong for choosing Laura Linney.
Mhm.
I think Laura Linney's nomination was perfect and deserved. And had she won it last night over Zendaya, there wouldn't be any injustice in that respect. In the same way that there's no injustice in the fact that uh, Zendaya won it again,
Yeah.
because fucking deserved it. That Euphoria show, which I've not watched more than one episode or whatever, because I needed to see what the whole thing was about. I'm not saying it's not a great show, but I haven't gotten to continue. There's a lot of trauma in it and shit, so I need to sort of prepare myself to
Yeah.
watch it. But
Yeah.
I did watch an episode just so I could see what is it that people are raving about, and Zendaya carries that show on her shoulder, my friends. So very well deserved. And okay, so outstanding series, outstanding limited series. Um Did we make a prediction on that, or do we even have that?
Let's see. We did make a prediction on that one, yes.
Okay. So go on with the nominees and let's boom boom.
So nominated was Dope Sick, The Dropout, Inventing Anna, Pam and Tommy, and The White Lotus. We both chose Dope Sick, but the winner was The White Lotus for HBO.
Yeah. Um it's weird. For me, you know, yeah, that one I'm not gonna budge on that one. It should have been Dope Sick.
I agree. Dope Sick is important, and
Yeah.
I
It should have been Dope Sick, man.
yeah, The White
I'm
Lotus may
sorry.
be funny and weird and entertaining, but at the same time, the Dope Sick is very entertaining, and it's also something that we need to know about. So
Yeah.
that's to me that's more outstanding. But whatever.
Yeah, man. Like you guys do you. But yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so now we move on to the last category, which is outstanding drama. And that was Better Call Saul, AMC, Euphoria, HBO, Ozark, Netflix, Severance, Apple TV Plus, Squid Game, Netflix, Stranger Things, Netflix, Succession, HBO, Yellow Jackets, Showtime. And the winner was Succession, HBO. What did we?
We both chose Squid Game.
I think we thought that it was gonna be a Squid Game night.
I think we really did. I think that we were hoping for a kind of like a sweep.
Yeah,
And a deserved sweep. Because I mean, Succession, of course, is great, but it has been around for a while.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
I was hoping for some wins, but not that it didn't get a few wins, which is great, but I was hoping for a few more wins for something so fresh and new for us, for the mainstream American viewer.
yeah. And if some other shows had won it, like for instance Ozark, and after how highly I heard you speak about Severance,
Yeah,
or for instance Better Call Saul, which it's in its last season, I probably would have been more okay with that. But I don't know that this last season of Succession, I didn't find it that dope. You
yeah,
know, the acting was, of course, amazing, but the story kind of drags on a bit, and it becomes a bit tedious. And yeah, I watched the entire thing, but whatever. Yeah. So for it to have won outstanding drama series, it's a bit weird for me, and but I'll leave it at that.
yeah, yeah.
So, Jojo, what are your last thoughts on the Emmys last night, and the winnings, the losings, and the surprises? What do you think?
I think that they made a few predictable choices, and by predictable, I mean sort of boring, in the
Yeah,
sense of Succession and a few others. I am glad that some of the actors from Squid Game were recognized because they absolutely deserved it. If there'd been a complete shutout, that would have been absolutely ridiculous. So
yeah,
I am glad that someone. I'm glad that there was some historic wins there for Abbott Elementary. I
yes,
think that's fantastic. I don't think there were any huge missteps per se that I noticed. There were some things that I maybe would have wanted to go differently, but I don't think that there was anything where I was like, "No, fuck."
yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah, yeah, but like I said, just a few things that were predictable, like, okay, yeah, I get it, but I wish you would have done something else."
I completely agree with that. The remarkable wins for me, of course. Um, you know, Jennifer Coolidge uh, Cheryl Lee Ralph, Quinta Bronson, um, Gerard Carmichael, you know, Lee Jong Jae, Hwan Dong Juk. These wins I really, really appreciated because some of those people have been in there for so long, and we've seen them, we've loved them, we've admired them, and we've always asked ourselves, what do they have to do to be seen the way we see them? And I'm particularly talking about the case of Shirley Ralph uh, and Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah.
And yes, it finally came about, and wow. And again, in terms of Squid Games, I think it was the series that, for me, and I'm not speaking for all Americans, but it was the series that told us, oh, you've seen a couple of Korean movies. You've seen uh, that one movie or this get nominated in that other movie that won it all one night in the Oscars. Take a look at how we do television.
Hmm.
Take a look at the kind of series that we can make. Take a look at the kind of talents that we have and how we can bring it and make it international and relatable, even though it's a Korean based show with a Korean story, but you can relate to it. You can see the social criticism or the social critique of what we are all about. And I think they did that. And I think every one of their nominations were well deserved. But I'm very, very happy that they won.
Yeah. Yeah.
And lastly, we are happy to be back, ladies and gentlemen. And again, look, if you've missed us and you thought, well, this silence is a bit abrupt, we're sorry. It wasn't necessarily a planned step back, but it happened, and at the end of the day, we're kind of glad that we did because it we are re-energized and reoriented in a way that, the directions that we want to take and what we want to continue to do with this podcast. Our hope is that you're still there, even though you came back 2 or 3 Tuesdays and didn't find anything new. Our hope is that you took that time to catch up with the older shows that you hadn't finished or never got started, or the podcast wise. And but our hope is that when this new content goes live, you will listen to it. And if you have questions, if you have answers, if you have any suggestions, we are always open to hear what you have to say.
Yes.
Again, all the social media contact, you know where to find us. We're going to call it a day for today. Thank you very much for watching.
Thanks, everybody. Bye. Thank you for listening to Kickin' and Streamin' Podcast. If you found value in our content, please subscribe and share. We would also be delighted to hear what you think of this podcast. So please rate us by writing a quick review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on all major social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. Join the conversation happening today on our Facebook group.